0.3. The powered one is a radio receiver for your individual consciousness. Essentially, we are all God experiencing itself in a physical form. The third eye is the mind. You look with the two eyes and you see with the inner eye. This is what gives you perception. Did you not know that you are the temple of God? Corinthians 3:16. You are all the I am, the I am consciousness. I resembles the number one, which is one line. Number one is the only true number. Everything goes up in the ones. Religions are made to externalize God, hide your power.
The only time you're ever in the present is when you close your eyes and you're doing something. You don't have about the imagination of God. Yes. Every time you're looking outside of outside of the physical world, you're looking at the dead world, the past. Old thoughts and old things created what you're seeing right now in the dead world, right? So you can't really even get mad at anything that comes your way in your day-to-day because you manifested it a long time ago. So what you should be saying to yourself, you can't even really get triggered by this because old thoughts created it. You know how they be like, stop tripping over the past? Everything that is in your presence right now in the physical, stop tripping over the past. You gotta keep telling yourself, stop tripping over the past. You created this with old thoughts. This is the world of effect. This is an effect from an old thought. And if I stop talking right now and I close my eyes and I envision myself in Paris, in the present moment I'm in Paris. Start thinking like that. In the present moment, you are wherever you're thinking about, whatever you're thinking about. The problem is, you'll take what you're seeing, the information that the 3D gives you, think about that all day, and guess what you just signed up for? Another dose of the ingredient, over and over and over again. And now you're 50 years old and miserable because you have the same day for 50 years. That's why. If you want to change your circumstances and your reality, you have to understand that staying in the present is not going to the forest and putting your feet in the grass. Just silly. All of this is busy work that keeps y'all consistently in the same thing. Staying in the present, I'll tell you, hey, get in the present. I'm talking about get into your desired reality mentally right now. The longer you occupy it, the more real it feels, the easier it is to shift this timeline and go into that, the one that you really want. Okay? So stay in the present.
Death is an illusion. The body is the electrical machine for the magnetic soul. The magnetic soul is powering the electric body. Death has ether within it because when you die, you go through the ether into the astral plane, the spirit realm. The ether is the veil between the physical and the astral world. Chakras are the 7 layers of self. When you die under a false identification of yourself, you have now created another layer you need to strip.
Dior bag and UAP update. We got this helicopter right over my house while we were talking about this stuff. This is going to be a long one, so here's a table of contents. Let's dive in. In Manalapan, New Jersey, there were 2 witness reports claiming that a large bus-sized triangle UAP conducted a high-G maneuver. It was then followed by 2 smaller UAPs shortly thereafter. The UAPs with lights on them appear to be getting more intentional with the way they move. Reports are claiming that some of the Dior bags are starting to open and close from sphere to cube. A lot of people, including myself, are claiming that these Dior bags have a playful or watchful feel to them, but the orange Dior bags tend to have a militaristic feel. On my page, you can find a couple videos of Dior bags, including from my own home security camera. Check them out. Spotlights or lights in clouds. These lights are appearing at the same time in almost a coordinated shot. They are not happening just in the US, but apparently reports are saying that they are happening around the world. These lights tend to be happening also in places known for having big car dealerships. Some people are.
Death is an illusion. The body is the electrical machine for the magnetic soul. The magnetic soul is powering the electric body. Death has ether within it because when you die, you go through the ether into the astral plane, the spirit realm. The ether is the veil between the physical and the astral world. Chakras are the 7 layers of self. When you die under a false identification of yourself, you have now created another layer you need to strip off, which will then cause you to be reincarnated through the Saturn moon matrix, the Earth. You have to find your true self while you are alive, or else you will die with a false identification. The spirit symbol is the circle, which is cycle. It has no beginning, no end. The spirit is eternal. You are body, mind, and soul, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. The mind is the projector, which projects the soul into the different bodies. The soul is just the watcher, symbolized as a single eye, the all-seeing eye. It sees what the mind is seeing, what your emotions are like, and sees with the 2 eyes. The all-seeing eye. Here's the Egyptians showing you the soul leaving the physical body. Life and death cycle is found within the days, day and night, sleep and awake. This is all macrocosms, because the universe is fractal. The physical world is the phi cycle, the cycle of the Taurus field. Death is an illusion, you will never die, and ascending up to God is actually ascending to your true soul form, not to God. The link is in the bio for the Book of Wisdom. Religions were made to hide the truth about yourself. Jesus never turned water into wine. This is going to blow your mind. Jesus spoke all things to the crowd in parables. Matthew 13:34. It's a symbolic and allegorical story about you turning water into wine. Fire is masculine. Water is feminine. Masculine is intellect. Feminine is emotion. Water is symbolic for emotion. Thoughts are the language of the mind. Emotion is the language of the soul. Emotions are communication from the soul. If you are jealous of someone, this is your soul telling you where you need to be in life. Every fear you have is showing you an obstacle for you to grow your life purpose. Water into wine, symbolic in turning negative emotions into growth and expansion, transmuting hate into love, jealousy into your reality. Jesus represents you, a manifestation of God's consciousness in physical form. Jesus tells you, whatever I can do, you can do better. In John 14:12, Jesus is you. Baptism is symbolic of moving from earth into water, the second stage of consciousness, truth. Dunking your head in water won't do anything. Baptism happens within.
But I was sending an email on a YouTube thing that struck me about, especially about the subject of reincarnation. A lot of people have big trouble with that. And this was about a little girl who's 6 years old, and she's on YouTube, and she's playing a piano like, a master concert pianist. She's playing classical music on the piano and all this stuff. And her grandmother said she started playing when she was 2. How is this possible? She has played at the White House. She's given a recital at the White House, and she plays with symphony orchestras all over the country. She's this big, and in addition to that, she plays with dolls like any other kid, whatever. But she's playing this music, and then the guys, once in a while, she plays jazz, because jazz is somewhat like classical intermission. I mean, you'd think you were listening to somebody who had been playing 50 years, a concert pianist. But the part that struck me is she looked in the camera, and the guy said to her, well, what kind of music do you like best? And she says, I like Mozart. And he said, well, what is it you like about Mozart? And she looked in the camera, and she says, I'm like him, he's like me. And then she turned around and played with the doll. And I said, Miss Mozart, just common sense. You're not religious. Just common. How does a 2-year-old kid start playing a piano? And how does a 6-year-old kid play so brilliantly classical music and then turn around and say about Mozart, I'm like him and he's like me? And the guy says to her, where's that come from? And she says, I don't know, maybe my heart. There's a beautiful, wonderful secret that we have been prevented from understanding. And thanks to so many today who are trying to make these things available to people.
That's
I've
what I
been
mean.
talking a lot recently about UFOs because of the Emerald Tablet. And, I was always one that said, I'm not going to talk about UFOs. Because most people that talk about UFOs are lumped as nuts. I didn't talk about UFOs, but I was lumped as nuts anyhow. But I said, well, I got to this Emerald Tablet, and it fascinated me because, and I don't know who wrote it. It supposedly came from some plate of the pyramids or something. But this guy died. I mean, did he make it up? I don't know. Did he put stuff in there? His own stuff? Maybe. I don't know. I said, I don't know what to tell you to believe. But you know what? Regardless of who wrote it or what, it caused me to find a connection between this prehistoric culture from before there was in Egypt.
You're seeing all kinds of crazy shit.
A connection
Don't
with
know.
that
There's
same
all
UFO
kinds of
force
crazy animals lately.
and the classic
People
Greek
catch them on these
scientists like
drinking because they
Democritus and
constantly on.
Zeno, quantum
Yeah.
physics, astronomy, anatomy, universal
Dude, whatever
construct,
that
all
shit
of
is,
this.
it's big.
Because I always said, to the
Yeah,
children, how could
yeah,
these
man.
people be living in one neighborhood? They knew everything, and the rest of the world selling sheep and splitting rocks. It doesn't make any sense. Where'd they come from? And because of this study, we
I
found
see all
that
kinds of crazy
Palestinians
shit.
came from the place where a UFO landed, came and migrated or flew UFOs to this place called what they call now Greece. And that's where these guys came from. And it connected me to Krishna. I never knew that in the Hindu text there was UFOs. I never knew that they had sky battles and all this stuff. It never connected me to Jesus. Because I never knew until I got into this study that Jesus' closest personal friend in the Bible was an alien who flew in a UFO. I said, wait a minute. If Jesus knew this guy flew in a UFO, how did he get here? Oh, they're sitting around in the Bible. He says, that's John the Baptist. You see that guy over there? That's Elijah. I look at Elijah, gets in a fiery chariot, and takes off into the sky and disappears out of sight. That's a UFO. Hey, Jesus, you know him. You know an alien in a UFO. And then it says at the end of the Jesus story, he was carried up into the sky. By what? And then we did the pyramid. And you know what? We connected the whole thing to December 21st, 2012. How? Because some of those UFO forces from this before Egypt took off and landed in South America, which is now called the Mayans, 30,000 years ago. Then you get a little strange. They said they built the pyramids and there were pyramids in Egypt, and then all of a sudden there's pyramids in the Mayans. Where'd they come from? Then this guy Pacal Votan, supposedly a Mayan, is the guy talking about 2012. And the Mayans carve a stone picture of this guy, and he's in a UFO. So I'm saying, but you know what? I've got more emails and more interest in this. Why? Because we've connected them. It all connects. I said, I was going to get mad at me because I said Jesus was an alien. You know what? Because they think aliens are little green men with pointed chins and big heads and big eyes, and they're little. I said what the Bible said. The Bible said the guys who got out of the UFOs were men. There's people. And if you look at the word alien, it means you come from another place. And then you look in the Bible and Jesus says, my kingdom is not of this world. I said, okay, pal, you're an alien. So all we start to do is use common sense. Look at science. Don't believe anything. Don't sell your house because of this, but just connect pieces. I'm going to try to bring a tape of that little kid next to you. But anyhow, through all this talk about UFOs, which is something, as I said, I haven't done in the past. But And then here comes a headline, which I thought was curious. Take a look at this headline. The Vatican looks to the heavens for signs of alien life. What? You have to look inside their places for signs of alien life. But anyhow, Vatican City, ET phone Rome. 400 years after it locked up Galileo for challenging the view that the Earth was the center of the universe, the Vatican has called in experts to study the possibility of extraterrestrial alien life and its implications for the Catholic faith. You know what this is? They're not saying, do you think there's aliens out there? They're saying, maybe they're coming. They do. How are we going to explain this? The questions of life's origins and of whether life exists elsewhere in the universe are very suitable and deserve serious consideration. Reverend Gabriel, an astronomer and director of the Vatican Observatory, 5-day conference gathered scientific to describe astrobiology, the study of origin of life and its existence elsewhere in the cosmos. You can look at that. You can look that up. But it is. It's not whether they exist. It's if they come. What are we going to say? You know? What if Jesus gets out of a UFO? How do we explain this? Oh my gosh.
So if outer space is real, then can you tell me why these lasers are meeting at a point in the sky and not intercepting and going out into the void of space? What could these lasers possibly be hitting, preventing them from going out into the void of space? I have an idea, and that idea is that we live within the firmament, and the stars and the planets above are not what they tell us they are, but they are light and sound, vibrating at specific frequencies. And these stars and planets in relation to each other create specific geometry. And this geometry and this energy manifests different things on Earth, on the physical plane. All you have to do is look up light and sound resonance, and then compare images with the images of stars. This is light and sound resonance, and these are real stars.